What's up, you glamping gurus? It's Garrett Brown from the Nice Flippin' Choice channel, back again with another video of the topic that shall not be named, permitting. As you can see, I am in a little bit of a new setup right now. I'm doing some renovations in my other side of the house that I'm gonna put on a short-term rental market soon. I almost said Airbnb. I almost call it that all the time automatically, even though it's a short-term rental. But that's not what you're here for unless you're an in-and-out hater like me. You're here to learn about permitting. More specifically, permitting your dream glamping site or tiny home village or whatever your little heart can think of. Now, I was able to push through my glamping site with a commercial permit, doing some things right, doing some things wrong, and of course, the most American part of the process, spending some money. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this topic though, if you do find this content valuable, please subscribe to the channel so I can afford more Panda Express. That is all. Thank you. Now, speaking of Express, the permitting process is never that. You like that segue? That was pretty smooth right there. I'm getting good at this. So be prepared to wait and wait and wait and wait some more.
Wait.
Because small counties, which you most likely are looking into if you're thinking of a glamping site or a tiny home village, are not really gonna be that fast in the process. Now, there are a few things you will need to do in order to give yourself even a little bit of a chance to make happen, and there's a few extra steps you can take that almost make it impossible not to be able to get it done. It just depends on where you're trying and what structure you're trying though. Now, there are a few things that you will need to get in order to give yourself a chance. A lot does come down to size on this.
That's what she said.
But I'll go over any additional costs for these types of things at the end of it, and you can decide if it's the step you want to take for you or if you want to ride on the wild side and just risk it. Don't recommend that. Now, the first step is to figure out what size site you're going to do and what structures you're going to put on it. This will determine a lot of where you go, how you plan things out really, and how you're able to even figure out if you can get a permit for these things. If you don't know what kind of structure you're going to build, you really can't even talk about the permitting process. And plan the whole thing out. If you're thinking 10 down the line in 10 years, you got to start from the beginning showing them that plan. Some places may not care how quickly you move, but they're going to want to see your end goal in mind if they're going to push it through, especially the bigger the development. If you have like 1 or 2 sites, it's probably not going to be as much, but when you start to get into 3, 4, and plus, there's going to be a lot of things that come up. Once you figure out what kind of structure you want to do, one of the main things that I do recommend, especially the more on-grid you're going to be, is if you have a structure that has some type of architecture plans with it. Most likely any county or anything you're going into that you're trying to get a permit for a permanent structure is going to want to see some type of architect plan. You have a temporary structure or things that are off grid, you're still going to need to find out what may need to be required, because there's a lot of different things that no matter if you're off grid or on grid, they're going to have access to, like different roads being up to fire code. That way trucks can get in and out of it. There's some different things that you're going to have to think about because you're going to host people overnight. Plan ahead for utilities and how you're going to link things up, where electricity is going to go, how you're going to do your septic or your water well system, or if you're going to do off-grid, then where you're putting your tanks, how you're doing your solar, all these different things that go into play like that. This may not cost anything at this initial phase, but you'll have to spend a little more in the end once you get going planning these things ahead, but it will be worth it. Number 2, you're going to need to find a place or an area that really depends on short-term rentals and has for a long time. There's a lot of areas, tourist areas, national parks, mountains, lakes, other things like that have been doing rent by the night and rent by the weekend for a long time, even before Airbnb came in. These most likely are going to be some of your best type of places to really get some of these unique ideas going. There may be some other areas out there, or you might already have a piece of land, which is not a bad start for sure. You just need to check into what kind of zoning and restrictions there are for that piece of property. I can make a whole video about finding the right place, and if you want me to, leave a comment below and let me know. But the main things I look for are view, making sure you're out of sight, sound, and smell from neighbors, having some type of different attraction or national park or something like that within 5 to 15 minutes from you, and then also being somewhat near major cities. You want to be out a little bit in the boonies, but you don't want to be 10 hours away from the next best town or 6 hours away from anything with even some people in it. It's going to be hard to get people out there unless it's a big national attraction or statewide attraction. Once you start narrowing it down, talk to contractors in that area, give them some ideas of what you're trying to do so that way you can see what's out there, and then ask them about the permitting process out there and what they think about getting things pushed through. They might give you an honest opinion, or you'll at least get multiple opinions to take it as it is, but they're not the most important people to talk to. When I'm going on to step 3, you need to talk to the permitting department of wherever you're looking at. Most likely it's just 3 or 4 people that work in this department. If you're in somewhere rural, might be even more, just depends on where you're at or what kind of property you're looking for. But this is by far going to be some of the best information you can get to really get your glamp site or tiny home village approved. They'll let you know what exactly is needed, what they are expecting to see, how they would prefer it to be done. They'll give you a lot of information that you probably don't really want to hear or don't want, but these are the people that are going to make the real final decisions for you, and they do most of it out of safety. I mean, let's just be real. They're trying to protect their own self and the county's image and the people that are coming to your property, or, however you're going to do it. They're just trying to promote safety with a lot of these things. They're always one of those things that you don't really want to deal with, but it all makes sense. So in the end, you just got to push through and just big sigh. And if you can't get an answer that you're looking for, don't be afraid to call back or try to talk to multiple people, even if there is only a few people in the department. Eventually, you'll either find the answer or you'll find out that it's probably the wrong question you're asking, or maybe the wrong county. Now, once you actually have a place locked in, the fourth thing is crucial, especially the bigger you get with the amount of sites you have. You need a site plan designer. I used a local architect that's also helping me build my wedding center out, but there's probably quite a few people that don't have to be a full architect to get you a really nice site plan. Having an architect definitely would be what I would recommend though. This is going to be able to show all of your road access, all of your different structures you're going to plan to have, possibly where your septic system is going to be, which is another thing you might need to get a design drawn out for and plan ahead with. Another thing that may come up and why a site designer is so important is also your county may need to make you have ADA compliance. But my site designer is the one that knows a lot of these intricacies and about fire code with roads. Road structures might give you a lot of haggle from your county if they're not up to code and things like that, because if EMS and all these other services can't get out there and have turnarounds safely, you'll definitely need a survey for your property from this if you don't already have one, which you probably should if you're buying a new place. And you might have to get a topographic survey, especially if you have a lot of road intricacies and other things like that, which is not really that cheap. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's about $5,000 for about 7 acres over where I'm at. But this shows all the curves of the road and all the depths and things like that, because to know where to put different parts of the road and other parts of the structure, it really can help your site planner determine a lot of these things and make it a lot easier to permit your whole glamping site. Now, a site designer can range from about $500 to probably $5,000 plus, depending on how intricate and how many acres and structures you have. Mine was about $1,200 for 10 acres with 4 structures wherever I'm at. Plan out a lot of these roads and different things. And he also would show up to any meetings and help with any processes of talking with the county commissioner or other people that make the decisions on the permits if I needed it. It's a good guy. Now, the next step you may not necessarily need, but it might help you getting funding, or even with the permitting department, there's a chance that they may ask for this depending on what they're looking for. But this is a solid business plan. Now, you can research and do this yourself if you're kind of savvy in this area, or you can pay someone to do it. This basically just shows how you're planning to make money, how you're going to make money, how much you project, how you're hoping to expand, or how you're going to run the business going forward. Basically just a full plan of your business, hence why it's called a business plan. I found a pretty cool template on the SBA loan section that helped me give an idea of what an SBA loan would look for when you're presenting a business plan to them, which I'm hoping to acquire an SBA loan when I do my wedding center down the line. So I made mine for free using Canva and a couple other things as well. But if you were going to pay somebody to do it, it's probably like $100 to $300 to help, maybe a little more intricate. I don't know. Number 6 is talk about the good you're going to bring. What I mean by this is anytime you do actually talk to the county or anybody that's in charge over there, especially in more serious talks of it, or when you're really trying to get the permit pushed through, don't be afraid to bring up how you're going to employ local licensed contractors, local handy people, local cleaners, local restaurants and businesses are going to have more visitors coming by. You're going to pay your hotel occupancy taxes, most likely what they will charge you in the area. And really just hit home that this is also a benefit to them to have some type of really cool, unique area like this in their town. You don't really got to go overboard with it and toot your own horn or whatever phrase you want to put in it. But you should be proud of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to bring to their community. And they should be happy as well to have something so cool and unique that's going to be there. And the last tip to really get your site permit through is you might need to hire a lawyer. This is probably 50-50. It just depends on where you're doing this at. If the county you're going to hasn't necessarily heard of glamping, you might need to get an opinion letter from a lawyer or something else along those lines talking about why your site would be compliant, or any other issues that may come up with the county, because a lot of times they may be looking at different code and ADA laws and all this and trying to interpret it. And most people that work in the permitting department probably shouldn't be trying to interpret much law. So you don't necessarily have to have a lawyer on standby, but just be prepared if they do ask for some kind of legal opinion on something based on ADA compliance, which is what I kind of had to do myself, which is why I'm putting this in there. Or there's a million other issues that could come up that they want to see some type of a legal opinion on with building code, building law, and other things like that, especially employment. Who knows what may come up, but ADA definitely may be a thing that pops up. Now, were all those things necessary? No. And if you do all of those things, will you absolutely get permitted? No. Doing most of these things, if not not all of them, will definitely help your chances by a ton. So if it doesn't work in one place or one county, just give it one more chance. Anyways, I'll see y'all in the next video. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Peace.